Well, hello, folks. This is my first time doing a podcast of just me with three different cameras and three different angles. I'm not really sure which one's on which. Maybe it's this one right here. I don't know. Maybe it's this one over here. It's good angles. I don't know if I have a bad side, but maybe I do. But there's one right here in the middle. It's probably my favorite because I like to look at you. Like I'm looking at you, listening and watching at home. But this is my individual episode of the Ben Mayfield podcast. I'm really excited about it. I'm your host, Ben Mayfield. I have wanted to do podcasting for a very long time. It's a format that I really, really enjoy. And I know I have a lot of new listeners that have joined on since I've started doing the Ben Mayfield podcast that didn't know that I previously hosted a Great White Buffalo podcast. So it was called the Great White Buffalo podcast. And I did it for several years, but I changed it because I just wanted the format to be more about what I wanted. The Great White Buffalo sought out to like really interview people and get to know their stories and their hearts. And I still want to do that with the Ben Mayfield podcast, but I also wanted to do some more stuff, some more fun things, some more individual episodes where it's just me on here, or I have friends come on and we do different games and different things that are kind of, I don't know, just fun. And so I wanted to change kind of the identity of what the podcast was. So I rebranded, restarted it as the Ben Mayfield podcast, which is a lot of fun and I'm enjoying it. So I just kind of want to give you a little bit of that caveat because a lot of people have been asking why the change. I still have the Great White Buffalo table here. That's kind of like an homage to my former podcast, but we have morphed and we are something different and something just like, I don't know, super exciting. I still have all the old episodes up so you can go listen to them, but we're just trying to branch out and do different things, and I'm really excited about it. We have a couple episodes coming up the next couple of weeks that are just going to be exciting. I got Hannah and Taylor on an episode, and we're talking a lot with them. It's going to be fun. We're doing a New Year, New Me, New Year's resolution episode, just really talking about kind of how we want to start off 2025 with some buddies of mine that are going to come on. We had the Four Horsemen. It's my three friends from high school that I'm still really close to. I have a lot of friends from high school that I'm close to, but three in particular, Trey, Thomas, and Will. So that's going to be exciting to talk about that. So we have a lot of great episodes coming out here. But one of the styles of episodes that I wanted to do is a Ben 10 episode where basically I talk about 10 different topics, give my insight, my thoughts, my just kind of opinion on things, and if you don't like it, that's okay. You don't have to listen to it. But be warned, this is my podcast, so why would you not, think that I'm going to tell you my opinions and my thoughts on things? I also want to give a shout out to Jackson Payne, who's our producer. He does a lot of really cool editing and producing. But today, to fill in, we have our friend Will, who's helping with the cameras, and he's moving them, and he's probably like, why does Ben keep looking at different cameras and moving it? So Will, I appreciate you being here doing that for the first ever Ben 10 episode. Now that I'm doing this, I was thinking about like what to talk about, what would be really good to kind of launch this off. And I'm a very seasonal person of like what the season of life I'm living in. And this is the Christmas season, right? We are in that celebrating different ways, different styles of just Christmas. And so what's really cool about that is there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot of Christmas things out there. And Caroline, shout out to Caroline, she's awesome, gave me things to speak about that I have never seen before. So this is a Ben 10 list where I have no idea of what it is. And I want you as the listener to kind of follow along and go like, what is it that Ben is talking about and what would I take into it? What would I give into and be a part of this? So the first one that Caroline wrote, oh boy, Christmas traditions. I love traditions in general. I remember my first really kind of, I like to go against the system, go against kind of like the grain. I'm a rebellious person. I'm a red, white, and blue American. And my rebelliousness, I remember in college, I was in a sociology class. And in the sociology class, they were talking about traditions and things that you can't do because it's tradition. And one of the traditions at North Georgia is you can't cut across the drill field. Like there's this giant field in the center of campus, and you're not supposed to cut across it. It's against tradition. It's disrespectful. And I'm in the class going, I've never heard of this. I'm from Dahlonega. I've gone to North Georgia. I'm like a junior at this point. I've never heard of this tradition. And they're like, no, it's a tradition. I'm like, no, it's not. You're making this up. Like, don't gaslight me in my sociology class. And so the professor was like, are you sure that you don't think it's a tradition? I was like, yeah, I'm 1,000% positive it's not a tradition. So the professor stops class for like all 40 of us and takes us all outside to the drill field and like goes, okay, man, cut across. Like, it's okay. And I said, okay. So I go and I run across the field going, this is so dumb. And I'm more mad because I'm out of shape and I'm out of breath running across this field. I'm like, he. But I go across, and then all of a sudden, these two cadets, which if you don't know, North Georgia's a military college. So we have these cadets, and they come sprinting towards me. And I'm like, oh, my God, I'm about to get attacked. I'm about to get tackled. What's going on here? And they come out to me, get right next to me. And they're like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I'm like, what are you doing? And they're like, you can't cross the field. And I was like, oh, who says that? And they were like the school. I said, the school said we couldn't cut across the field? And they're like, well, our commanding officer said we couldn't do it and to stop anyone who did it. And I said, well, how am I supposed to know what your commanding officer has said and hasn't said? I'm not in the cadets. And they were like, these are definitely freshmen who don't know. They're like, that's a good point. We don't, you're not, I guess you wouldn't know that. I was like, I wouldn't. Yeah. Like, so we're not supposed to cut across this? They're like, yeah, no, it's like tradition. You're not supposed to. And I was like, well, thank you so much for letting me know. I am going to cut back across so I can get back to my class. They're over there laughing and standing at me. And they were like, oh, okay. And I was like, all right, have a great day. And I cut back across. And that's my introduction to traditions, which has nothing to do with Christmas, but has everything to do with I'm a little unconventional when it comes to traditions. And I almost got tackled because of this and beat up by the cadets. So with that, with Christmas traditions, a lot of times growing up, we didn't have, a whole lot of like traditions. We would celebrate with my mom's side the Sunday before whatever Christmas was. And so like we'd have her celebration with that family. We would do it with, going to the Christmas Eve service. We had presents. My dad always had his like VCR camcorder. It was like, if you don't know what VCR is, for those people, it's like the tapes that are like really old looking. For all my 90s kids that had like the Nickelodeon orange VCRs, what's up? And so they would do like VSR or VCR recordings and then went digital. So we have a lot of Christmas things like that. But no traditions that kind of like stick out to me like a whole lot that were like, oh, this is it. Like, this is tradition. I will say with that too, especially with people who have lost loved ones or like time has changed, I always feel like Christmas traditions can be honored and like loved and like remembered. But I'm also okay of like developing new ones. Like if you want to go, I talked about this with Nathan Dickens one time because, shout out to Nathan. He talked about his grandmother passing away and some of the traditions that went away when she passed away. But we also talked about how that could be an opportunity to honor her is to create something new. Where like every Christmas morning we drink hot chocolate. We buy fancy hot chocolate and we drink a cup of it and we have some cookies. And like we do that every year as kind of like a new tradition, but also keeping that loved one kind of in memory. So I'm pro Christmas traditions. I'm pro them. I'm pro creating new traditions, celebrating traditions, and it's going to be fantastic. Number 2 of the Ben 10 list. Best Christmas movies. Woo! As you know, this one's crazy because Caroline doesn't know this when she made this list for me, but if you know me, Christmas movies have always been a kind of not a sore subject, just a really interesting subject. Like growing up as kids, my dad, being a military dad, we watched a lot of military movies during Christmas time. We did not watch the traditional Christmas movies. We watched Band of Brothers, fantastic series. We watched Full Metal Jacket. We watched the movie Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger. We watched a lot of those movies. We didn't watch the traditional stuff. But if I had to really think about, and which I think is unique, I mean, maybe that's a Christmas tradition too, of like, maybe I'll show my kids war movies growing up during Christmas time instead of like Rudolph and like Frosty the Snowman. We're just going to watch like, Full Metal Jacket and Apocalypse Now, just whatever we want to watch. Platoon, some great war movies instead of like Santa went to Vietnam. It's like, yes, he did. But best Christmas movies that I really enjoy. I love Elf. I'm a big Will Ferrell fan, so I love his movie. I'm trying to think. We just watched Red One, which came out in theaters, which is pretty good. Christmas Vacation is always a classic. It's definitely, when I watched it for the first time like 2 years ago, it's definitely like an SNL skit. I mean, it's Chevy Chase at his finest doing just different skits, and then like the movie cuts to another skit, then cuts to another skit. So it's very Chevy Chase of him to do that. But then there's a lot of like classic ones, like Home Alone is really good, even though it's like wildly hot take, not the best parents in the world. Like I know they were busy, but like, do you just forget a whole child? And like, and that movie today also couldn't be made because there's a thing called a cell phone that would just completely destroy the plot of Home Alone, where they would just call Kevin on his cell phone, or they have a Ring camera, or they have like literally technology ruins a lot of movies that were made in the 90s, which is just, great that we have technology, but not great for the movie business. They have to be very clever. So let me know what your best Christmas movies are. I bet I missed a couple of them. I never watched A Wonderful Life. I've never seen it. I've never watched 34th Miracle on 34th Street. I've never seen A White Christmas. There's a lot of Hallmark movies that are probably pretty good that I haven't seen. I know Michaela said her favorite is a movie called Claus, which is like a really cool like town come together. Kind of origin story. My dad and I did go see a movie last year called Violent Night. Not a Christmas movie that you would think, but also kind of more lines with the war movies. That's pretty good. It was a very violent movie. Has the guy that plays Hopper from Stranger Things in it. It's pretty good. Ben 10, number 3. What would your role be in a live nativity? Oh, gosh. My role in a live nativity. Oh, gosh. I mean, obviously, I want to be baby Jesus. I think it'd be hilarious having a full-grown man play baby Jesus, just like, ooh, gaga. But I'm also thinking, like, and I don't mean to be sacrilegious, so I don't want to, like, get struck down by, like, lightning or by my fellow Christians. But, like, did Jesus know how to articulate as a baby? I mean, he is God. Like, could he have conversations as a baby? Like, was that weird? Like, were they like, all right, Jesus, like, do an airplane. Like, here's some food, baby Jesus. He's like, stop. Don't do baby airplane. I know who I am. I'm God. Or did he have to develop like a normal human did, but was also fully God? I don't know. Those are the questions that keep me up at night. They don't really talk about that at seminary or at church. Like, could Jesus have full conversations? I don't know. I mean, he was doing some stuff when he was 10 years old that was like kind of adultish. So like, I don't know. Like, write in the comments, could baby Jesus have conversations? And so if he could, then I want to be baby Jesus because I think that'd be hilarious. Like, hey, what's up, guys? This is who I am. Some of y'all are probably thinking I should be a donkey for other reasons, and that's rude. I think a cow would be funny, maybe like a moo, because I don't know if they had cows over there. Maybe just like a palm tree. That'd be kind of hilarious, just like dress up as a palm tree. Or one of the 3 wise men. What made them wise? I don't really know. But I bet I can find out, and I would want to know what it to be a wise man. But live nativity scene would be awesome. I haven't been to one in a long time, so I need to go check it out, see what all the roles are, see if there's casting, see what I could do. Number 4 of the Ben 10. Christmas break plans. Now, as a teacher's kid growing up as a TK, all you TKs out there, Christmas holidays were the best because your parents got off, you're off, and it's like the best vacay. It's like probably 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks of no school, and it's the best. And it's like summer vacations, like good, like you're traveling. I always do like summer camps. Like summer is busy. Like we're doing stuff. We're going out and doing activities. The weather's nice, so go outside. But there's a little bit about winter vacation, Christmas vacation that's homey. Like I'm in my home. I'm going to eat cookies. I'm going to drink hot chocolate. I'm going to play video games. Like I'm going to wake up when I want to wake up and go to bed when I want to go to bed. Like there's some independence, right? If I want to play Fortnite or watch Star Wars movies all day, I can because it's my holiday. I'll do what I want. And I feel like that's a good reason why Christmas break is better than summer break. I'll say it. It's not as long. I get that part. But just as far as the freedom, it's like a staycation. I get to stay home. And then you get to do some good holiday stuff where you get presents. You don't get presents during summer vacation. You get presents during Christmas vacation. And so you get nice presents. You get good food. You can eat as much like cookies and candy as you want. And it's like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm celebrating Christmas. Like, don't judge me. You do it during the summer, and they're like, dude, why are you eating so much like candy? And it melts. You ever had a Reese's on a hot July day? Yeah, that stuff is icky. All right? I ain't eating no melty Reese's. Christmas time, it's perfect. It's delicious. It's cold. It's frozen. I also love, like, leaving some candy. This is wrapped, obviously, outside. And then you come outside, like, and it's, like, cooled. And it's, like, almost, like, frozen, but you didn't have to put it in the freezer. So good. That's actually a hot take. That might be kind of weird. People might cancel me for leaving candy outside. But they're in the wrapper, and it's just good because it's cold. All right? I don't know. I like Christmas break, personally. I think it's probably the best one. If you think summer break is better, tell me why. Is it because you get to do more stuff outside? If you're talking about the outside stuff, I get that. But I'm just talking about the cozy. The best recharge. I feel like summer vacation is you go do stuff that you wanted to do, which is great. But if you're talking about like being recharged, my battery is always recharged starting in January than it is in August. Because I'm like, I'm rested, I'm great, my heart is full, my spirit is full, my wallet's full. I just got a Christmas bonus, or I got like presents, or I got whatever. Like, let's do this. Always feel more charged in January than I do in July. So that's my Christmas break. And I'm going to, with my interns, I'm taking them out to Cheesecake Factory. Bro, I got to tell you, Cheesecake Factory is where it's at. If you haven't been, I'm going to need you to pause this episode and go to Cheesecake Factory. You're thinking to yourself, Ben, why would I go to Cheesecake Factory? Like, that's bizarre. That's crazy. I'll tell you why. It has the best cheesecake east and west of the Mississippi. That's the whole world. It's the best cheesecake. And it's not just regular cheesecake. They have like 50 different types of cheesecake. You want Snickers, Snickerdoodle, peanut butter, Reese's. There's a difference. I didn't know that. There's red velvet. There's birthday cake. There's Oreo. There's Oreo birthday cake. They just cram things together. There's cotton candy. They have original. They have chocolate. Tres de leche. I don't even know what that means, but they have it. They have a lot of different flavors. And the cheesecake is so good. Now, I will say that everything in a Cheesecake Factory is made in-house except for the cheesecake, which I think is controversial. I think they need to do some new branding. But the food is delicious. I always get it's like chicken Marcel and steak Diane with mashed potatoes in the middle. Oh, my God, it's so good. Wow, I think it's because I'm hungry right now that I'm talking about Cheesecake Factory. I wish this podcast was sponsored by Cheesecake Factory. I would sell out. I would do 45-minute commercials every episode just for Cheesecake Factory if I had a brand deal, because it's that good and I believe in the product. Adam's peanut butter cheesecake is my favorite. And this is the rule, and then I'll get off this. This is just number 4. We have 6 more. This is my rule, my advice for you. When you go to Cheesecake Factory, you buy your favorite cheesecake. For me, Adam's peanut butter cheesecake is delicious. I'm going to buy it. I don't want to ruin trying some other cheesecake if I have a favorite. But the rule is you buy 2 pieces, one of your favorite, and then you branch out and you try another cheesecake, and you get 2 slices of cheesecake, one that you love and one that you might love later on, but you get to try it out. That's the rule of Cheesecake Factory. So that's why I'm doing my Christmas break. 10 out of 10. Ben 10, number 5. Best Christmas day / memory. Oh boy. Best Christmas day / memory. You know, I remember this would have been, maybe like 2008, 2007 maybe. It was, living in Georgia, Dahlonega, but living in Georgia, you don't really get snow. You might get some ice, and the whole world shuts down when it has like a little bit of ice. But to really get snow is very rare. We actually probably get snow more in January and February than we do in December. But I remember my mom doing a snow dance so we can like get out of school early. And like it had like a little bit of snow flurries, so like school did get canceled. It was great in December. But I remember, and I can't remember exactly which year it was, but I remember waking up Christmas morning and it snowed. And I think I've only ever had like 1, maybe 2 of those in my entire life of having a snowy Christmas day, a white Christmas, if you will, where it's just like snow is all outside. We had presents and warmth inside. And it was like fluffy snow too. It wasn't like, a disastrous, icy, whatever. I know we had one later on because we all went to the leasing's house and that was probably 10 years later we did that. It was fun. So once every 10 years we get snow. And I just feel like that just made it more Christmassy than anything. And it was fun being with my mom, my brother, my dad, presents. Our grandma came over. It was just a good Christmas day. And so the snow part is great, but I think just the memory of having that with my family is tremendous. And I love it. Now it'll stick with me. And there's a couple of other ones of like great presents, sentimental time with people that will stay near and dear to my heart. But just overall, it's kind of a good story that I like. Number 6. What would be your ideal magical Christmas morning? I probably just shared that with the last one, so I'm kind of there. But think about that. Write that in the comments too. Like, what is your favorite Christmas story / like favorite? What would be an ideal morning? I think for me, like, it's just, what's Christmas about? Presents, obviously. Like, I want tons of presents. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Please don't hate on me. I think Christmas is about family, right? And spending time with loved ones. And so for me, an ideal magical Christmas morning. Well, hold on now. If you're saying the word magical, that opens up the realm of possibilities here. Because if you just said ideal Christmas morning, I'm going family, spending time with my loved ones. Presents would be great too, not expected. But it's like spending time with my family. How's that not ideal? A little snow would be nice. Not so much where we can't drive, but just, nice little snowy, beautiful. Maybe some Chinese food for dinner that night. Oh my God, so good. I'm gonna get some sesame chicken, some fried rice. Maybe I'll treat myself, get some egg roll, maybe a little crab ragoons. I'm getting a little crazy. I'm sorry. I'm also hungry, if you can't tell. That's an ideal Christmas morning or Christmas day. But you wrote the word magical. And that just opens the realm of possibilities. I'm thinking magical. I want to see Santa Claus. If you ever seen the original Santa Claus movie, Tim Allen, who plays, what's Tim Allen's character's name in that movie in Santa Claus? I'm asking my producer. Maybe he'll look it up. I know there's probably some of y'all listening like, I know this name. It's so Peter? I want to say it's Peter. Maybe not Peter. Oh, gosh, she's looking. But anyways, he plays this guy in his house. And he goes, and the first Santa Claus, he knocks over and he kills Santa Claus. Not only does he kill Santa Claus, do you have his name?
It just says Santa Claus.
No. Look up like the IDMB or the Wikipedia page, and look up and see who like his character's name is. I know it's got to be one, because he definitely like is Tim Allen. When he comes out of the house, and he knocks over Santa Claus, and he kills Santa Claus, and then he takes on his what is it? Scott Calvin. Thank you. I know there's some people already like screaming at the video like, it's Scott Calvin. I'm sorry, I didn't know top of my head. Not Peter. It's Scott Calvin. Scott Calvin knocks him over and then takes on his jacket, and he becomes Santa Claus. And the whole movie is about how like he becomes Santa Claus, and he like reconnects with his family, and like they all rekindle, and it's like a wonderful magical Christmas. But I can't get past the fact that he murdered Santa Claus, who had his own family, who had his own connection, that had his own things that he's doing. And then all the elves are just like, yay, new Santa, new Santa. This guy murdered the old Santa. Like, what are you doing here? So if you're talking about a magical Christmas morning and you're focused on the word magical, I think my idea is I want to wake up, knock over old Santa Claus, and then I get to become Santa Claus. That's my ideal magical morning. I want the jacket. I want the pants. I want the job and the responsibility. I want to make toys. I love toys. I'm going to make toys for everybody. I want to make memories. I want to work with Rudolph. I want to see if he's a real jerk or not. You know, does he think he's better than everybody because he has a red nose? I don't know. Do I want to hang out with elves? You betcha. Do I want to see a Yeti? Yeah, the abominable snowman. 100%. I can only do that if I enter the magical realm. Do I think St. Nicholas was also in the world of Harry Potter? Yes. Do I think he's a Gryffindor? Probably. Do I think, Jack Frost? Yeah, Slytherin. Krampus? Magical creature. I don't know if he was actually in the school or not. But Slytherin. I don't know. That's how I feel. That's what I want to do. Is that wrong for me to say that I want to be Santa Claus and have a magical realm? Yeah, probably. But I would love to do it. I would step up to the challenge. I'm not afraid of it. Give me the role. There's some jobs out there that I am scared of. Not that one. I would do it. I would do it with pride and joy, for Christmas cheer for all to hear. I don't know. I would do it. I gained some weight. It'd be great. Number 7 of the Ben 10 list. Also, comment below if you're okay with me being Santa Claus. Like hashtag Ben for Santa Claus 2028, Gonna run for it. What if Santa Claus was elected? That'd be wild. Number 7, best Christmas present you ever received. Oh my gosh. Best Christmas present you ever received. This one, like the one that just really popped into my head. And it's not even like that good of a Christmas present, but it was pretty cool. I remember getting my first TV. It was like 2011 or 2010. It was 2010. So 45 years ago. And in there, I remember getting a 32-inch TV, and I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. So I have my own TV. Like back then, like TVs weren't like they are today, where everybody has TVs. It was like, you got a TV. It was wild. You know what? Nay. In 2008, you know what? Bump that. Best Christmas presents was in 2008. TV was great. Even though the whole thing was like, no one had TVs, and I had a TV, and I thought I was the coolest person in the world. But in 2008, I got 2 gifts that were awesome. Materialistic things that were awesome. I got an iPhone 3. I'm aging myself there. And I also got a pair of Chacos, which are sandals if you don't know what Chacos are. And in 2008, I want you to Google it. That would have been Christmas 2007 maybe into the summer of 2008. So I guess it was Christmas 2007. I was the first student in my entire county, Lumpkin County High School, that had an iPhone. I was the first one. And everybody thought I was the coolest person in the world. So yeah. And I also was the first person to have Chacos, which now I feel like a lot of people have Chacos. They're like kind of the cool sandal. Everybody has them. They're fun. But back then, I was a trendsetter. I had green Chacos, and it was the old school Chacos where they were like thick. They had a thick base. You could like step on like glass, you can go volcanic ash, like whatever it was. The Chacos were going to last. I wore them to Puerto Rico. I wore them to D.C. I mean, I wore those Chacos everywhere, on the river, swimming, in the ocean, everywhere. I love those Chacos, and they lasted for years. Now, eventually, the straps got worn and torn, and I had to get new Chacos. But those were the baddest of the bone shoes that I've ever had. And so I remember wearing Chacos, and people like, oh my God, like, what is he wearing? That's so weird. Like, ugh. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry that I'm cooler than you. I'm sorry I'm 10 years ahead of you in fashion right now. And as you know, I'm not a fashion guru, but every once in a while, I strike it out. I struck it out with some Chacos. Facts. So good. iPhones, still have iPhones. Everybody has them now, but iPhone 3, I thought I was the coolest person in the world. I remember taking pictures like, this is so cool. And it's like, all right, whatever. Everybody has iPhones now. But I remember being one of the first ones. So if I'm talking about some of the coolest presents I ever received, number 7, those are the 2 that really stood out to my mind. So comment below what are some of your favorite you've gotten. Obviously, there's some sentimental presents that I've gotten that are just like my dad is really good at being sentimental. He like got some books created that had pictures from like our childhood and with their mom and stuff like that. That's like really sweet. And I love sentimental stuff. I'm a very sentimental person. Most of the wall back here has sentimental value of some sort of thing here. So I love sentimental gifts. So I go both ways. But comment below. Let me know what you're thinking. What was like the coolest like kind of fun present you got, and what's the most sentimental present? What's something that you just really enjoyed? Man, I got a lot of cool action figures when I was a kid. That was always fun too. Getting the coolest toys like G.I. Joes, Marvel, like DC, having Batman action figures. It was cool. Like you had like a Batman action figure fighting like Iron Man. It's like, what? Is that even possible? It's like, it is possible because I have toys. Like, they would fight. It's awesome. Love it. Number 8, all the emotions that come with the holiday season. How is that? That's a Ben 10. Number 8, all the emotions that come with the holiday season. I think what that's really getting at is the holiday season has a lot of emotions. I mean, if you really think about it, it's joy, hope, love, peace, kind of the Advent kind of themes there. But also, we talked about it last night in a little Bible study. The kids really opened up about some of the struggles that the holiday season brings with grief. It brings up sadness. It brings up the lost memory of people. You know, when everybody's celebrating loved ones, if you have lost someone or you have a broken family, man, that brings up emotions too. It makes the Christmas season hard when you're thinking about people who are not there. And so how do you balance the emotions of like, I'm actually having a really good time here, but I miss people. And it's just like a whole variety of emotions, a mixed bag of emotions. And I think everyone who's listening can probably relate to both of those. Someone you've lost, or a friendship or a relationship that's just not the same, a tradition that's no longer there, and like kind of the grief of that, but also the fun stuff of like, oh, like going to Christmas parties, Christmas sweaters, and presents, and seeing people and hanging out and reuniting and having a good break. So there's a lot of different emotions, and I think for me, how to kind of handle that and just be with that is, it's just be open and vulnerable and just allow yourself to feel the way that you're feeling. I think sometimes we want to like deter or suck it up or bury it deep down inside. But if I have a memory of my mom, I'm going to let that memory just thrive. If I have a memory of my dad, my dad's still with me, but still with us all, and he's awesome. But there's sometimes I get really sentimental with my dad, and I'm just gonna let that be. I'm gonna enjoy that. If there's moments with my nieces and just the joy of being with them. I'm going to enjoy that. I'm going to love that. This is my first Christmas that I've had. I've been in a relationship with someone. That's awesome. I'm going to enjoy that and be part of that, and celebrate that. And I could go like, well, I'm celebrating this with my girlfriend who never knew my mom. And that's kind of like saddens me. But I think what happens is I just celebrate my mom in the years that I had with her. And I also celebrate with my girlfriend and be okay with that. Maybe there is some mixed emotion. Maybe there is a little sadness. Maybe there is a little bit of hurt. Feel it, absorb it, live it. But never like harp or don't. It's not healthy just to be addicted to hurt or pain. Acknowledge it and like really deal with it and be in it. But then also like make sure you also just stick with the joy and the peace and the healing and the harmony the future brings, and be open to that as well. So there's just a lot of emotions, and be around people who love you. Choose people who choose you, and be around those people this holiday season. Feel what you got to feel. Know that you're loved, valued, and known, and going to have a good time. As the newly appointed Santa Claus, it's going to be a magical time. Can I say that? Can I say that I'm newly appointed Santa Claus? That could be the title of the episode. Like, Ben is the new Santa Claus. Oh, man. That'd be sick, dude. Number 9. The true meaning of Christmas. Oh, my gosh. The true meaning of Christmas is the fact that I'm now the new Santa Claus. Like, that's the true meaning. Like, right? No, please don't quote me on that. Ben thinks he's the new meaning of Christmas. No, the true meaning of Christmas obviously is Jesus Christ is your Lord and Savior. Come on. Amen. Pass the plate around again. We know the fact that Jesus is incredible. We just talked about in Genesis at our Bible study last night about how there's this foundational work of like who God is and this coming of understanding that there's this fall from grace and there's these families with Abraham and then Joseph and Jacob and Isaac and on this bloodline that leads to David, who then leads to this birth. And it's cool that God has like interwoven from the beginning of Genesis all the way through the Old Testament, and you can see this like dotted line, this interwoven thing to this birth of Jesus, which is saying all the past and all the promises and all the things that are coming up through the Old Testament, which need to be studied, which needs to be learned and absorbed, and understanding the depth of what was needed with this birth. That's the true meaning of Christmas, is to celebrate the birth of a Savior who brings in hope when there's despair, who brings in peace when there's chaos, who brings in joy when there's darkness, and love when there's fear. And so, like, how can he bring all these goodness into the world? Let us celebrate that. Let us celebrate a Savior who is starting us on a new path of grace and mercy and forgiveness. That's incredible. And I also think with that, the cultural significance of Christmas too, it's not just the spiritual, but the cultural, is have an attitude and a heart set with gratitude of like, what does it mean to give? Instead of just receive, instead of consume, how do we give? We're giving presents, but we're also giving time. We're giving rest. We're giving this time of being with one another. How could he not do that, man? Like, how do you not celebrate that? Like, you want to celebrate giving. And I would say that the cultural of giving and attitude definitely has direct ties into faith, into religion and with Jesus. But even if you don't acknowledge that part, it is about just being with people in the gift of giving, and not being a sucker of taking from other people, sucking other people's goodness and not giving it out. Give out the goodness. And don't forget that the meaning of Christmas is about Jesus, a Savior who loves you, who values you, who knows you. And the world was leading down a dark path, and then a Savior was born. It's miraculous. That's the true meaning. Ben 10, number 10. Favorite part of the Christmas season. It's a great number 10. Favorite part of the Christmas season. Obviously my favorite part right now is that I'm the newly appointed Santa Claus. And with that becomes a lot of responsibilities, a lot of job opportunities, a lot of career opportunities. I'm already thinking about developing my team. Like, who do I need as my social media manager? Does Santa Claus do podcasts? What's my podcast called? That's the new Santa Claus. Like Saint Nick, podcasts, like Santa, banter with Santa. No, that's not right. I was like, the Claus class. Oh my gosh, the Claus cast. That's why Will's the best. The Claus cast podcast with Santa Claus. Like that is really my favorite part of the Christmas season. Security. The North Pole is a lot. So I have a lot of jobs. If you're interested, apply below. Comment below what you'd be good at the North Pole, what position you want, head elf, toy maker, research developer, finances, magical creatures department, like whatever it is. Like maybe there's a Hogwarts professor adjacent that like comes over there and checks us out. I don't know. But that's got to be my favorite part. Besides that part, my favorite part of the season is getting to see people. I think we live in a world, and it's so sad too, and I'm a victim of it, but I think the way that Satan attacks us in a way that is not really so like direct where we realize it is the word busyness. He likes to keep us busy because when we're busy, we don't take a moment to pause and focus on things that are important to us. Things that are real to us, things that matter to us. Family, loved ones, friendships, celebrating God. And the Christmas season, I think, really reminds us to pause on the busyness. Stop being so busy. Don't be stressed out about who got what gift. But the gift is being with people, being with loved ones, laugh, create memories. Joke about the good old days. Be there with someone that you love. That's the best part of Christmas. That's my favorite part of Christmas. So I want to be there with people who matter the most to me. I'm excited. Next week, I'm having Cheesecake Factory lunch with my interns. We have some college interns coming to join us. That's going to be fun. We have a Christmas reunion with the people who are on the mission trip. We have a staff Christmas party. We have my brother's birthday party. We're having a squad miss with people who I play Fortnite with, who are like also my college buddies and their wives. It's a lot of fun. We have a Yabs Christmas party. Like I just have all these things that are planned in the next week and a half, and it's just joy. It's just fun. I know we're going to be watching Georgia football with some people during the Christmas break. It's because the season, my favorite part of Christmas season is people coming together. Football is great. Yeah, go Dogs. But that's not my favorite part. My favorite part is just being with people, watching the game, and hanging out with people. So, I don't know. I encourage you to have that a little bit as your favorite part as well. It's like go see people. Reach out to people. Send them a text message, a phone call, an email, whatever it is. Let them know that they're loved, that you're thinking about them. But, yeah, so that's my favorite part of Christmas. I don't know what your favorite part is, but make sure you comment below. And so this is episode number 4. We've done a pretty fun episode. We had Jake and Garrett. We did Jesse, and then we had Samuel and Henry. And this episode is kind of a solo episode. I'm going to call them Ben 10 episodes, where I just talk about 10 different things. This one obviously was about Christmas. Next one may be a New Year's resolution, 10 things I want to do for the new year. I may do a Valentine's episode where it's like 10 things about love. I don't know. Maybe I do 10 things about Easter, 10 things about summer. I don't know. But I kind of like this format, kind of a fun, different. I got 3 different cameras. How fast can you go? Right? Hope that didn't give you a seizure. But like, I like doing the fastness of the pace of just talking and like getting to know my audience and getting to know you, and you get to know me more so as a host. So I hope you've enjoyed this Ben 10 episode, the Ben Mayfield podcast. If you haven't already, we started with 146 subscribers, and I think the last time I checked, we're at like 161. And so I appreciate the almost 20 new subscribers since we started on YouTube. I know a large part of you still listen on Apple and Spotify, so thank you so much for listening and subscribing. Follow us on Instagram. I appreciate just the love and support. If you have ideas of who you want to be on episode, DM us on Instagram. Caroline runs my social media. She's fantastic. I know Will and Jackson are helping with producing and production, and Madden helps out too. And my girlfriend gives me ideas, and my friends do too. And so I just appreciate all the love and support of people trying to make this podcast just bigger and better, and something that you want to listen to. So with that being said, you are loved, you're valued, you're known. I appreciate you for listening to the Ben Mayfield podcast. Peace.